I've always been attracted to rarity, and once I saw the first old new kit, I think I saw it on the Hot Wheels, I started like researching like where could I find one of these kits, and it was very hard to find. And then when I found one, I was like, okay, yeah, I know that this is the one. Once it was fitted, yeah, I was very happy with that decision. I'm a professional basketball player who's converting to the car world because I love cars. I was attracted to cars at a very young age, and living in the country, I was able to drive way earlier than I was supposed to drive. Hopping behind wheels of anything that I could hop behind and just drive. So the experience of driving alone always was kind of what drove me to want to be in a car. I was just one of those tall kids that everybody said you should play basketball. Like, I was told that from a very young age. And up until I got to the pros, I didn't realize what basketball truly was. It showed me that it's a true business and the lifestyle and everything that comes with it. And that's what really attached me, because it showed me that I can use basketball to get what I want. I picked up some really hard lessons very early in my career. My first year was in Jerusalem, but then I went to Turkey. Learning how to live in different cultures and how to live within different religions and seeing these places, I think, made me a worldly human being. The biggest influence I've had so far was when I played in Chiba, Japan for 2 years, and that's kind of what drove me to being able to collect the things I want to collect. At that point in my life, I bought a home and I felt like I needed a couple cars, so I went and I got a R8 and I got the Porsche 997. When I first got it, I felt in love. It was the red, it was hearing the sounds of a Porsche, and getting acquainted with the car was probably my best part. Some of the roads I was able to drive on just listening to the car with the windows down next to some water with the sun on you in a Porsche is where you want to be as a man, in my opinion. The connection from Asia was obvious, living in Tokyo for 7 years. I was able to be there and then meet a lot of people and get in a lot of rooms I probably shouldn't have been in, which kind of led me to this car. I would do interviews and, talk to people, and I let it be known that I'm into cars and I'm into fashion and things like that. A fan of the team ended up taking me to the RWB factory, and I spent some time there with Akira Nakai. I was able to work in the factory for a little bit. I followed him around for a little bit. Seeing him work and being around him and seeing how people revere him to this day has always motivated me to want to do exactly what he does. And that's open up a shop where I can do everything I wanted to do. Meeting him showed me that there is a place for me in creating in a world like that. There's a very big wide-body culture in Japan, so that's always something I've been attracted to. Seeing the whole RWB thing up close and personal got me even more attracted to it. I wanted to get an RWB kit, and I was in line to get one, but then COVID hit and it kind of slowed everything up, and I was like, I don't want to wait. And it kind of led me to getting the old new kit, and I couldn't be happier with the decision. I've tried to fit in some of my favorite cars, and it just breaks my heart and makes me want to cry every time I try. So being able to fit was the first thing. And then noticing how the Porsche body shape was, I was a little bit wider than everything. I was a little bit more sleeker. How they've been able to keep essentially the same shape for this long and still attracts people. That is exactly what attracts me to Porsche. The style of it is just something that's timeless. And I feel the same way about BMW, which is why I have that. During my transition from basketball, unfortunately, I was injured. I'm sitting there with this large cast on my knee watching YouTube videos, and I came across a Larry Chin video, and I saw the E30 Touring for the first time. I was in Tokyo at the time, and I was preparing to move back to Manhattan to my apartment. So I had my eyes to the streets looking for anything that I could find for my first car coming back home. I wanted that car. So I DM'd Larry Chin, hey, do you know this guy? Is he selling that car? And in the video, he said clearly, I'm not selling this car. I would never sell this car.
So this is not for sale yet?
No, I don't think it'll ever be for sale. This is my pride and joy.
It was a turbocharged station wagon. And at the time, I had just found out that my baby girl was on the way. And what he called it was a dad's race car. And that really attracted me. So I reached out to him and I just threw it out there. If you ever want to sell that car, consider me first, please. And he said he just happened to want to sell it. He started sending me videos and photos, kind of enticing me every single day. Before you know it, he had a cashier's check in his hand and we were sitting in Starbucks in Brooklyn and he handed me over the keys and I was like, this is my gift to myself and this is what I'm gonna drive my daughter around in when she comes of age. So that's the reason why I got it. I'm training right now to be a certified mechanic. It was moments where I had driving around in whatever car I had and someone would ask me a question or something would happen to the car and I would have to pay an outrageous amount of money to get it fixed. It's more respectable for a person to be able to work on their car, so it kind of drove me. So I started looking on YouTube at Chris Fix-It and I started buying books and started pulling up on shops and asking them questions and being more involved with my builds and you know, it kind of led me to wanting to train and be certified. German engineering is very complicated if you're new to being a mechanic. That kind of challenge is something that allows me to take what I learned from basketball and put it into being a mechanic. It makes people upset with how simple I am sometimes. I just don't want to do things that I don't love. I played basketball for a very long time and once I didn't love it, it's like, what next? And that's why I picked up a sewing machine and started learning how to sew. And then I started seeing that sewing wasn't going to pay the bills. So what's next? What's my next love? And it was cars. And that's kind of what led me to making the decisions I made with just throwing myself into cars completely. Everything that I've had from basketball, all the connections, everywhere I've been in this world and told people that I love cars and pulled up to dealerships and talked to people about their cars. And I had kept all these connections when I finished with basketball. I've always been planting my seeds towards the end of my career, being able to pull up in Europe, being able to pull up in Japan and anywhere else on this world and talk to people and go buy some cars and bring them to one central place. I feel like makes my shop special and that's why I want to do it. It was always the freedom of being behind something that can go really fast. Like that was always my intentions, whether if it was bikes or skateboards or cars or whatever I can get behind that can go fast. Like that was always what I wanted to do. Every time I collected a Hot Wheel, I knew I was going to get that car. Like I'm collecting this because I'm going to get it one day. That's kind of where my theme came from with the cars that I do buy, and which is kind of more wide body than I probably should have. It's because I want my cars to actually look like Hot Wheels. The two hot red cars in here are more Hot Wheel than anything, you know, so that's kind of my aim, to try to create and make builds that make me feel like that kid again that was collecting Hot Wheels.